Hello, Sushi here, and today we are going to cover the best played game of chess ever. So here I scored an accuracy of 100%. So Stockfish approves of every move that I made. I played perfect Stockfish moves. I think that makes me better than Hikaru. It makes me better than Magnus Carlsen. Makes me equally as good as Stockfish. Maybe, probably not quite as good as Canadian chess legend XQC, but anyway, this is going to be the game that we're going to review. So in this game, I'm playing with the white pieces. I start with d4. My opponent plays b6. He goes for this fianchetto setup. And this was actually a rematch. In the previous game, they played like a double fianchetto. So I was almost expecting like a hippo defense with, something like that. So after this move, just take the center, bishop out, attacking this pawn, knight defends this pawn, e6 just, not to get overrun in the center and like preventing this move. And I defend this pawn again. And here my opponent plays f5. So the thing is that when you push the f pawn, you always have to be aware of the queen check. And here the queen check is covered by this pawn move over here. I can't. After the queen check, you can block, and there's not much I can really do. So that queen move's okay. So that move was always kind of on the back of my mind, but I realized it doesn't really work here. So I just take. The idea here is that after the recapture, well, the recapture is what I was expecting. After the recapture, I could just knight out, castle, maybe start an attack. I don't know. Do something like this, I don't know. So my opponent takes on g2. And this move looks really juicy because it traps a rook. I have no way of defending it. Like, I can't move my knight out of the way because the rook's still not defended. So the issue here is that on this turn, I have queen check. And this pawn no longer blocks because I can just capture it. So that's exactly what happens. I capture. And here my opponent can't recapture. Otherwise I would just take the rook. And I understand my opponent would take my rook, but this knight is under fire. It's just such a brutal position. So here my opponent takes a queen. I think the idea is that at some point she can block the king for my future check. So here I have a discover check. That's what I go for. Discover check, and I win the rook. And at this point my opponent resigned. If the queen moves, I just promote. And we both lose our rooks except I have an extra queen. If queen blocks, I take, takes back, I promote with check. Like no matter what happens, I'm just straight up a queen. So my opponent just resigns. And that is a story of how I played the best played game of chess of all time. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed.